I've got the great pleasure of meeting with Innocent Makasa, who's a little bit of a rock star on social media, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But before we continue, I would like to introduce you to Innocent. Innocent is the Chief Forensic Analyst at the National Forensic Science and Biometrics Department at the Ministry of Home Affairs in Zambia, based in Lusaka. And I have met Innocent in Cape Town previously. He actually has the same supervisor as I had previously, Dr. Laura Heathfield, and we'll hear a little bit about his research that he is currently doing at the University of Cape Town in collaboration with his own laboratory. But I think let me hand over to Innocent and ask him a few questions so we can get to know you a little bit better. So welcome, Innocent, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Vanessa, for having me this afternoon.
So you're a bit of a pioneer, and I see through some of your social media posts that you refer to as a pioneer. Can you tell me, what are you known for, and why are you considered a pioneer in Zambia and in your industry and your profession?
So thank you very much, Vanessa. So in Zambia, mostly my push is for having an objective forensic service system. So far, I have worked with my colleagues to develop regulation. So far, I think Zambia is the second country from the UK actually to have a regulator of forensic service in place and functioning. Yes, so yes, we've pushed that, and basically we just want to make forensic science relevant to the criminal justice system. Yes.
That's fascinating. So you say that you are pushing for regulations. Can you just speak a little bit more about that for those of us who don't understand what specifically you mean by regulations in this space?
So what I refer to as regulation basically is to have an oversight, an independent body to look at how forensic service or facilities that are offering forensic services are performing in terms of adhering to quality standards. So basically that, mostly in other countries where regulation is not in place, they are doing what they are calling self-regulation, which has terribly failed.
That's great. It just shows you, one of the things I've realized working in Africa is how countries are advancing at such a speed, and it's wonderful to hear that you're leading the charge, because I don't even see this in South Africa. We have an oversight board, but we don't have a regulation or regulatory officers like they do, as you say, in Zambia and in the UK. So well done for that, and we'll be watching this space, and hopefully you'll share some of that on social media, because I'm sure some of the other African countries would be more interested to hear more about this. Maybe that's another conversation. So I mentioned that you were doing your PhD through UCT, and everyone's always interested in what you're researching, because it obviously is your idea. Can you just tap into what it is that you're researching and what you hope to achieve through your PhD?
So yes, thank you very much for that question. Now, what I'm doing actually in my research, I'm trying to establish what we call the background allelic frequency database for Zambia in terms of forensic DNA. I noticed that when Zambia started offering forensic DNA evidence, we didn't have the allelic frequency database from where we can then estimate the probative value of the DNA evidence. So it's always important. I think this goes to another African country too. Before you start offering DNA evidence in court, you estimate the frequency distribution of the DNA in the population. So that's what basically I'm doing. But of course, it will be more than that, because I've dedicated myself to develop about 3 types of allelic frequency database. One for autosomal, the other one for Y chromosomal, and the other one for X chromosomal. So it's exciting way.
Wow. That's incredible. That really is amazing. And, you know, I don't think people understand the importance of having your own frequency database in your particular region, because what it does is, as you mentioned, it provides that particular region with allele frequencies that are present there, and it makes the probative value of evidence so much stronger. And it's really admirable that that you're doing this not only for your PhD, but actually giving back to your country in terms of establishing an allele frequency database. So well done. You really are. This is why you're a rock star. This is why we're talking to Innocent today. So, you know, a lot of, I work on an ethics advisory board at the moment, and a lot of criticism is often brought towards these databases as a result of people's misunderstanding and the ethics around forensic DNA. And I found working in Africa too, that there's a lot of myths that need to be debunked around taking somebody's DNA. I'm interested to hear your views on how you, within your own country and as the chief forensic analyst, how do you explain to people that ethically this is something that is necessary, that it actually has value in your criminal justice system?
So yes, thank you for that question too. Before I even answer that, I would want to reiterate that the kind of database that I'm creating is different from the national DNA database.
Thank you.
So basically, the database I'm creating is the basic on which actually you can build now the actual national DNA database, which is also very important. I've noticed that one, it's first of all very difficult for people to understand the two types of DNA databases that we're dealing with, or that we deal with in forensic DNA analysis. And most people don't want to give their DNA, even when we're collecting samples for the creation of this database. Most people thought that we'll start investigating them. Allele frequency database then is the one which is used to estimate the, if you wish, statistical or evidential value of the DNA evidence. So it just looks at the distribution of the DNA alleles or the parts of DNA that we use in forensic science in the population of interest. So in this case, the Zambian population, how are these pieces of DNA we use in forensic science distributed in the population? That's the allele frequency database. Then the DNA, national DNA database, is where we get indices or DNA of people or interested in of groups of people into the database for searching. So in fact, the DNA database is crucial because it now helps. It's used as an investigative tool. Because just doing DNA analysis on its own, it's not useful, or it's not so much useful in the absence of the database. So database, that's why we put indices for accused persons, indices for arrestee persons, indices for police officers who are the first responders at the crime scene, and indices for missing persons. So basically, the DNA database is more informative compared to the allele frequency database, because the allele frequency is anonymous. We don't add names, just the frequencies, whereas the DNA database actually will add names and the situations, yes, to the sample.
Thank you. Do you have a DNA database in Zambia currently?
Well, unfortunately, no, we don't have a DNA database in Zambia, basically because we don't even have the law actually to regulate the use of this database. In fact, it's establishment and usage. I think it's important, like you have always guided, that it's important actually to have a legal framework on which this database should be established and used. So actually, we don't have. This is when we got from South Africa, and then develop one.
Well, we're going to change that, Innocent, because we're going to be crusaders in Africa, and we're going to create these policy frameworks. And these conversations, they highlight the need for policy and laws to regulate the forensic DNA casework programs that are already taking place. And that's why it's necessary to, as you say, have a regulatory function, have policies and laws in place, because they're happening anyway. So they may as well be regulated, because it's more dangerous not to regulate than regulate.
Sure.
Yeah. So you did a presentation today, and you've just come from that to here, and congratulations, because it's wonderful that you're able to speak to other countries. Tell us a little bit more about that, what you were presenting, who you were presenting to.
Yes, thank you very much. So I think an advocate for the proper use of forensic science, it always pains me when I see how irrelevant forensic science is getting to be to the criminal justice system because of misapplication of the science. Okay. So that's why I advocate, actually, strongly advocate for the regulator. So today I was just speaking on the need for regulation of forensic science to the Indian community through what they're calling the Applied Forensics Research Science team. So okay. That was my message today, and it was well received, and I spoke to people and they actually spoke back, gave feedback, and it was great.
Oh, congratulations. It's wonderful to see collaboration. I always say that, we needn't reinvent the wheel. We can work together, we can learn from each other, and specifically if they're low-resourced environments where we have exceptional challenges. I always find that those are the people that we need to speak to more, because it's where you have challenges in your environment that you have these innovative solutions and ways to work through them, that we can learn from each other. It's pointless, going into a community that has everything in place and all the resources in the world, because it just doesn't work in environments that we have in Africa. So I'm glad to hear that collaborations, because we can teach and learn from each other. So that's well done for that. So something's quite interesting when I email you. I see at the bottom of your email, you have a phrase that says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, Murphy's Law. Now tell me, why is that, for someone that's obviously such an optimist and doing such great work? Tell me a little bit about that phrase that you attached to your email.
Yes, so I first got it from Dr. Okres, from South Africa, the ones running the DNA. So that one, resonates well with my actual principles and of just getting ready for anything, and not making things or getting things for granted, taking things for granted. We just always need to be ready for things we think will go wrong. Will definitely go wrong if we don't take chances, if we don't take corrective measures. That's why in the forensic regulation, we all know that people can falsify results. We know they can do that. So if we don't take corrective measures by ensuring that we adhere to quality and enforce quality standards, then they'll falsify results. Yeah. So anything you think of which can go wrong will go wrong if you don't take corrective results.
Well, maybe you need to qualify that coming forward in your emails to say anything that can go wrong will go wrong unless you are prepared.
Yes, oh, yes,
it can still go wrong, but less chance of that. Yeah. So a little bit of personal information. Before we started, you were saying you're from Zambia, and we were asking you what is Zambia like? It's lovely meeting different people from different countries, and give us an insight as to why your country is so beautiful, why you love it, why we should visit it, and what happens there.
Yes. So first of all, Zambia is a peaceful country. Starting with us, the people of Zambia were so sociable. We like to live in groups. We live for each other, and we respect each other. More so, we respect tourists and foreigners who come to Zambia. When you are in Zambia, you are not a foreigner, actually. We don't consider you as such. Mm-hmm. And the country is beautiful. We have tourist attractions. Of course, the landmark is the the Moso Tunya, popular known as the Victoria Falls. The largest part of the Moso Tunya is in the Zambian land. In fact, you enjoy it from the Zambian point of view. So it's a great, and there are a lot of numerous and accessed places where you can just enjoy and probably be the first one to be there actually from South Africa. So must visit Zambia and enjoy its serenity and the people.
Oh, it sounds absolutely amazing. And just judging from having known you for the short time that I have known you, that you are a representative of the Zambian people for sure. So I thank you for that insight into your country, and I hope that we are going to be there soon. We certainly have plans to do that, and watch this space, because this man is a rock star of forensic science in Africa and is doing great things. Follow Innocent on social media over there. Do you want to just say what your hashtag is? What is your handle, or whatever they call it on social media?
At Makasa.
At Makasa. Watch this space. This man's going somewhere. Thank you so much, Innocent, for joining us today. And we look forward to hearing more about your journey, about the regulations that you're trying to put in place. I think that's definitely something we'll follow up with you over the course of the next year, and certainly something that we should be enacting in all countries. It has such an important part. So thank you for your contribution to that. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Nothing much. I just want to thank you for hosting me, and we just like, I think your energy in the science field, especially forensic science, really have supported us, and you've made our work easy. I was impressed actually the time I knew you. Actually, you taught me when I was at UCT, you taught me about the DNA databases. You were my lecturer then, and also I was impressed with the work you were doing with the which were just highlighting the importance of not invading the crime scenes whenever it happens. I think we have that problem in Zambia. I was hoping that you would replicate that organization to Zambia, so that or any other African country, so that we can learn from that, and our population or our members of the public can know the importance of respecting the crime scene until the police get to do their work.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's great. And look at us now. Now you're the teacher and I'm the student. So you teaching me about regulations. Isn't that wonderful? That just shows you can never be old to be the student and to learn. So that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with us. And remember that together we are DNA for Africa.